Let's talk about Russian war crimes. What kind of crimes are most widespread in Russia's invasion of Ukraine? Why is the Russian approach to war so heavily marked by cruelty? Why do Russian forces torture Ukrainian civilians and abduct Ukrainian children? You're listening to the Explaining Ukraine podcast. My name is Volodymyr Yermolenko. I am a Ukrainian philosopher, editor-in-chief of UkraineWorld and president of PEN Ukraine. My guest today is Oleksandra Romantsova, a Ukrainian human rights activist and executive director of the Center for Civil Liberties, a Ukrainian NGO that was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2022. Explaining Ukraine is produced by UkraineWorld, an English-language media outlet about Ukraine run by Internews Ukraine. Before we begin, a quick reminder, you can support our work on Patreon. Your contributions are essential. We rely heavily on crowdfunding. You can also help fund our volunteer trips to frontline areas in Ukraine, where we support both civilians and soldiers. Donations are welcome via PayPal. You'll find all the links in the episode description. So let's begin. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk. So we actually are going to talk about a very difficult topic, which is Russian war crimes. And you are one of those organizations, Center for Civil Liberty, who are working a lot with this topic. And there are some other organizations who are doing this as well. Do you think that you can classify these crimes? Do you have this list, like what kind of crimes are there?
You know, at the territory of Ukraine, you exactly can find whole the list of Rome Institute give us. Why so? Maybe not just children soldiers, that's all. Why so? We need to remember that that's started from 2014. And all the pattern which we have now, for example, absolutely classic for Russian forces, that's kidnapped people, that's torture people, any person who exactly, which they hold like a hostage, like a captivity, like prisoners of war, they always tortured. And sometimes exactly when you speak with Russians, human rights defenders and say, yeah, because for them it's normal everywhere. It's normal inside the Russia system. They think that it's normal outside. So they even don't feel it like a human rights violation or war crimes, because for them it's normal of their life. And so in 2012 or in 2014, we started documented war crimes from the moment when Girkin changed the place from Slaviansk to Donetsk. And that was 3 days after our first mobile group field mission de facto from 4 journalists, 2 lawyers and 2 human rights defenders. That was first 8 people who started documented war crimes in Ukraine, because before that, Ukraine don't have any experience. We don't have a war. We not even participate. Mostly if even our international mission participates somewhere in some armed conflict, that was or demining or medicine, or police just keeping order in some territory. That's all. And so we figure out that maybe we will not do that best way, but we will be first. Nobody will compare it. What we see that there's dreaming about Second World War and how if you are great Russia soldiers from great Russia army from great Russia, you can say "Війна все спише." So it's like war give us opportunity not account anything. So nobody will know, nobody documented something. So what we found in Slaviansk in 2014, and now we see it at Melitopol, at Bucha, at Kherson, everywhere. The first structure which Russian forces built at the place, it's a structure or pushing down and keeping at the absolutely scaring and afraid. So that's why they make a list, really fluent people at this community, leaders, It can be business, it can be journalists, it can be volunteers, it can be preachers, any religion figures, it can be local writers or other artists, and they started targeted. They mostly they try and sure that was kind of a structure, state structure forces, but in Donbass and Crimea, we need to recognize that people who work at prosecutor office, who work local, regional, who work at special services, who work at militia. In that moment, we have other name. So all of 87% of them take a part of this separation and de facto creating a so-called Lugansk or the Donetsk People Republic. That's why when human rights defenders coming and started take a testimony with the people, they believe us, they trust to say that, to give their story to us, but never do that with police, general prosecutor or secret services. That's changed in this way. 2022, first of all, we was much better prepared. 8 years, human rights defenders do documented war crimes. War crimes, crimes against humanity, episode of genocide, because we have quite good numbers of hate-motivated crimes during this time. And if we will speak about hate crimes, upper level, it's genocide. So we have this basic. We found a lot of episodes from that. And 2022, it's just give them more territory to repeat this pattern, repeat изоляция. It's one of the factory of torturing, the factor at near the Donetsk. And now they repeat it everywhere. Even they have small village. After 1 week, they will have this structure for torturing, for kidnapped people, because they think that's a way how to control this territory. And
so they actually control it through violence, through fear,
absolutely.
Right? And how do you explain it to yourself? Because one of the ways of explanation is that by this they're showing who is the boss, who is the who people need to obey, and that creates a certain type of their thinking what power is, right, and what authority is. So power belongs to those who is capable of extreme violence. Is it the way how it works?
I think they truly believe that differences between Ukraine and Russia society not exist. And that's how they make biggest mistake. Because 30 years independence of Ukraine, only small part people truly want, really powerful state will control my life, will told me what I will to do, what stage of my life will be, and so. That was a dream for Russian society beginning from 2000s, I think. They truly dreaming about really powerful state will bring the order. They see it in this way. Ukrainians, like society which same coming from, I call that post-Soviet trauma. We same have some nostalgia. Sometimes you heard about maybe it will be better if order will go, but never Ukrainian society will prefer gives back their freedom, the opportunity to make a decision for themselves, for some of the dreaming of some great state. So when they come, they think that if you bring fear, order, and this pushing down, you will have this control. But at Ukraine, it's not work. That's work at the Russia population, because inside this, they have other previous 20-year stories. One president, hold the critical voices, just cutting. We don't have journalists. We don't have human rights defenders. We don't have anyone who exactly put the critical question for this state. And next point, they build this structure many years. They have quite big part of society who exactly work inside this structure. At Ukraine, They don't have it. Yanukovych was too lazy, thank you, to build it when he had the power, when he had enough money to do that, but he just grabbed this money for himself. Okay. I mean, no, it's bad, it's corruption, but I mean, we don't have this, part of society who support Yanukovych in any way because they believe that Yanukovych bring them power, opportunities, monies, and luxury life. And that's why we have much more, we much more often use our freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of joining, freedom of assembly, freedom of peaceful demonstration from 1991, from our first revolution and the zone, till 2014 Revolution of Dignity, we have 19 big peaceful demonstrations which make next step to the change something, because mostly foreigners know about Maidan 1, Maidan 2. They call it like this, like second and third revolution, but that was a lot and in different places, not only in Kiev. My native Mykolaiv, Vradiivka, was one of the starting of big Maidan 2013. So that's what that scenario which Putin bring to us and expected that will be enough to cover by his power all our territory, all our population. It's not work here. We everywhere, even in small village, we have a people who understood. Okay, it can be like this. We will build underground. We will corrupt Putin system to trying to destroy it. So that's why we have a people who even survive after torture chamber comes out, like Stasi Saif, and wrote about that really detail. So what exactly crimes mostly people outside of Ukraine don't see, and sometimes like people who, it's small numbers, people who don't have a connection direct with army now, because it's not relative there, it's not some friend there, that small percent of people at Ukraine. So what they can see, first of all, you need to understand, not exist the rules which exactly Russians inside the Russian army or inside any Russian structure, any international rules not work there. You can find them, a lot of people trying to find there a person who will be softer, who will be more honest, who will be something like this. Some like truly people inside the system, they are not exist. If someone in Crimea told you, arrest you, and after they say, I'm your friend, I will help you, wait a minute, just 20 minutes, we will ask you, and after this release, that's always lie. That's always lie. When some of, for example, some relatives don't want to give us information that we make public that someone was illegally arrested or illegally detained somewhere, and they told maybe we can have some negotiation, maybe we can try to take them out another way. It's always, just non-true expectations. So that's really what you need to do. What you need to remember always, that all of these structures, even they call them court, it's never fairy trail. If they call this police, it's never about your protection. If they call this general prosecutor, it's never about your rights of law protection or something like this. It's only services for Putin, his regime, this structure. They're working only for that. And sometimes we found the judge who make not so horrible decision, and we are glad. Seriously, we speak about judging, we speak about justice, and it's not exist in the territory of Russia Federation like a system. It's sometimes someone lucky that they have after absolutely fail case, they have not 15 but 10 years.
Let me ask about some of the crimes. One of them is, of course, kidnapping of children.
Oh, yeah.
How do you explain it? Because Ukraine is talking about 20,000 of kidnapped children.
I think
if I'm not mistaken, Russians are actually saying that they have taken or saved much more, hundreds of thousands. And I know the stories, for example, in Kherson, when there was an occupation of Kherson, and we have also a podcast about this, that they were just taking kids from their families and saying, we will send them to Crimea, to the occupied Crimea, so that they go to the sea and they have rest. But under this pretext of recreation, they actually kidnap children and never give them back. How do you explain this?
First of all, they really believe at the propaganda power. So some of people from Kherson told about that after 2 days when they occupied the Kherson, they bring the screen at the wheel, which they put in the different streets, so just Russian TV have his magic in these Kherson streets. But when we speak about children's, what kind of aim they can have? Sure, it's always like just to try and to build some theory inside the Putin head. But I see 3 main aim, which exactly they trying to go into when they forcibly displace people. When we speak about young people, when we speak about small children's, that children's under the 5, they truly believe that they can rewrite their memory, indoctrinate them, and receive European-looking population of Russia Federation. They have a demographical catastrophe before, and because European part of Russia Federation, which they put like a label, that's true Russians, they exactly don't have a lot of children's. And that's why National Ethnic Republic, which exactly it's more than 300 ethnos inside the Russia Federation, they traditionally have a lot of children's. So what they're doing, they stealing and trying to indoctrinate European-looking children's, and opposite, they send mostly soldiers from this ethnic republic, which exactly look more Asian. So that's de facto everyday xenophobia at the parade. And that's horrible, because that's demographic engineering. But we see it same in Crimea. That they have a special program, come to Crimea, open new business, change your region somewhere at the Siberia to the Crimea. And last 10 years in Crimea was born 200,000 children. So by the law of Ukraine, that means each of these child have a right to be a citizen of Ukraine, because we have this land law. So, and we don't know what we will do next, because their parents, who occupiers, need to be sent out to Russia after reoccupation. But what we will do with the children is the big question. So when they steal our children, first aim, just xenophobic aim, they want to have more white European population. Second, children's little bit upper than 5. These children, they try and indoctrinate in a patriotic military way, and trying to show them that their best career is Russian army. Exactly. At 6, at 7, at the first grade at the school, they have a first lesson at the year about Russian army and how they're proud and how you need to remember horrible acting of our grandfathers who killed the Germans at the Second World War. Nobody speak with the children about horribles of the war, and we need to remember that child who was traumatized in Mariupol by the war come to the Russian school, bullied, because bullying everywhere, anything which connecting with Ukrainians, it's happened everywhere in the grassroots level. Nobody trying to support. It's like a child who traumatized during the war, and after they put up under all of this situation, they bring idea that you need to be a soldier. You're a perfect young soldier in the future. And third one, that's a group of children who upper school age. They receive recruitment documents for Russian army. We have a boy, 16 years old, who received 3 times such documents. So it's not and hacking a few system around the children's education in Russia. I will not say who, but we do that, and we see what exactly instruction they send about our children. They afraid them. They think that's potential terrorist inside the Russia. So from one side, they have a commerce. We are so savers. We rescue so many children. And you're true, absolutely. Maria Lvova-Belova told about that last 12 years, they rescue 700,000 children. We collect information about 12 different groups, because it can be children with caring, children with the parents who transport, but for example, children who lose their parents during the whole filtration. So family trying to escape from war zone to the territory of Russia Federation at the border, they have a filtration. Parents was just unfiltrated, nobody knows where they are. Children was sent it next to the territory of Russia Federation. So it's a lot of different groups. It's stealing orphan children de facto. That's how you mentioned about pushing under occupied territory, push the parents, give the rest to the rest camp their children, and after this, in these rest camps happened this indoctrination, military patriotic education, which started from 6 years. So, and after what we have so traumatized children who no one supports and who start and have suicide acting, and or other way, we have a kind of Taliban. So that's what happened with these children, because even for Russian children, Russia, it's a bad place. If we will speak about education, rights, and protection of these children.
And how cynical it is when Russians are saying, look, we are defend family values, and look at Europe where children can be taken from their parents, so they invent all those stories that actually social service in European countries come and pick up these children and divide families. But then you see that on the cosmic scale when they are talking about hundreds of thousands of children, right?
Look, again, there's a question. When any war, it's again the childhood. Any war, because people at the childhood condition, that's human at the childhood condition. That's how children is in the law language, So these humans, they are in such condition that they depend from elders, from adults. Economically, physically, mentally, psychologically. So these children need to be supported, and if they don't have it, so just imagine what kind of trauma, what kind of complex, what kind of manipulative environment they have. So, and that's not at all about democracy. It's not about opportunity that this young adult person will understand that they don't have rights. So they trying to, from this level, they trying to build for themselves comfortable, non-democratic at all population. And this population will have some kind of mental disability de facto. They don't believe in any moment that they have rule their lives, that they're responsible for their decision, they're responsible for their states. That's I don't know what we will do when this Putin system of propaganda, we're fighting that, take it off, when even we judge them at the special tribunal, sure. But there's a question how defend ourselves, not only now when we speak about drones, when we speak about some kinds of weapon, but how defend ourselves from neighbors who many years not take their responsible for their state. And so when we have children, it's always mirror from adults' world. So if they're like adults, it's always exist always natural, more protective minds who will not drop in this main flaw of manipulation. But these people, like human rights defenders in Russia Federation, for example, they will be marginalized. Nobody will listen to them. They will not have any opportunities to speak, any opportunities to make a work, any opportunities to support someone. And So that's that big question, what that means justice in this way? As for me, justice for Ukraine, it surely be protection. So we need to be defend. And when someone in Europe told about that, give us the guns, it's just escalate a war. Come on, guys, if you have other way how defend ourselves and us, okay, we're open for any suggestion. But no, so now that's arms. We need it to be protected. Second one, to make it justice, and make it justice in historical way. Like if Stalin and his regime and his crimes was not recognized like a terror, like international crimes, so that means that Putin can use it like example. Same, Russianism need to be proclaimed like it's not normal, it's a crime. Or other way, someone take it and will repeat. I don't know, maybe after a few elections, it will be some German AfD or something like this. I hope it will be not happen like this. So that's why it's so important. We need to be protected. We need to bring back all our people. It's adults at the captivity. It's adults at illegal detention. It's civilians. Exactly, Russia create new war crime. She kidnapped civilians from occupied territory, and even this territory was deoccupied, they are not bring them back. Until now, where we have, you heard about some exchanges or something like this. That's about military. That's about people in the list. But we have a huge list of the people, like minimum of 7,000, who is civilians, students, drivers, absolutely don't have any connections with defended system of Ukraine. And they was kidnapped, and they hold them at the jail without any accusation, without any opportunity to be touched with family, with medicine support, with any way. And we know that they are there. So Russia created new war crimes. And we look at that and say, okay, guys, you can even imagine. And so when they create a fake case and send these people to the court, we are glad. Not because this court can make a decision you are not guilty, but because in this way we can send their lawyer, and lawyer will say he is alive or she is alive, because part of them it's a woman. So all of that, just imagine, it's like, it's like any fantasy reality when you have absolutely not logical law and rules, because you told that you have an order, your democracy state, officially it's still right at the constitution, they change it every time, but not this. But exactly, they are not protect their population, they don't care about their population, they killed their population through the war, they just send the people whom they don't like, they even not take back the dead corpse of these people after. So Russia have now huge, massive numbers of missing person. And all of this, people still sitting in Russia and not act to protect themselves. Because all of this strategy of Putin, it's a suicide strategy for Russian society. And a small group of people who try and do that, they or send out from the country or put in the jail or killed. So what we have now, is it Ukraine have other way just protect ourselves and documented war crimes and build mechanism to have a justice. That's how we can help, even not ourselves. That's help for whole the world. Because if we are not call this crime of aggression, so when you have hold the power and you started a war, that start to be a norma. And that started to be example for any other guys who absolutely control their population, their countries. And we have, it's a lot in the world.
Tell me more about this kidnapping of people. So can we say that on the occupied territories, the law does not exist? Because the the right of a human being to have life, to have property, to have something like this, it just doesn't exist. Can we say that this value of human life, even for their own people, as you say, even for their own soldiers, is very low?
So if you're controlled by Russia occupation forces, that means not exist any law except only one: guys with a gun have more rights than you. So we have, because we questioned and take a testimony from the people who comes back from different kind of illegal detention, like prisoners of war or these people. We have political motivated arresting. You remember from 2014, it's till now more than 200 people, mostly Crimea Tatars, like because Russia have political motivation, they arrest them, send them to the whole territory of Russia Federation. It's a huge jail system. So all of these people, Russia just, first of all, she always built the media story around of them. They redress, for example, civilians at the military form and showing that's prisoners of war. And why we know that? Because they make a news from that. And after this, relatives of these people, who knows that this guy never can be in army because he has insulin addiction, so or other way, they recognize them in this photo. So relatives do that, collect a lot of information, trying to find any photo or any mention of their relatives. So what they're doing? At the Donbass period, they use them a lot at illegally labor. They use them like as slavers. They use them to blackmail their relatives, and at Donbass and Crimea, they say, yes, we give you back your relative if you, for example, sign that your flat now it's our official, that's our official property, or your business, or something like this. So they use them like a resource, just blackmailing. They use these people. It's huge numbers of sexual crimes and gender-based violations. Huge level, because and a lot of them, like when we collect the data, it's half of half. It's not only women, but it's a lot of men, because Russian soldiers and Russian non-official soldiers, they use the sexual violence like a weapon, like put you down mentally. And that's why it's a lot about men. And that's a problem, that one of the part of your torturing, you don't know any rules, you don't have any ideas. Is it possible that will stop any day? And all of this, that's the rules of this territory. So you need just to try to figure out what these guys with a gun think, and how you can act that he is not arrest you, not put in the torture chamber. For proportion, how it's happened here, relatives appeal to us, and we have two person who enforcers disappeared at territory of Snegurivka. That's only one small part of Mykolaiv region, village. That's village and region. And when Kherson occupation happened, the Snegurivka same was released. So we go in there and we find torture chamber. Again, it's a village. It's less than 20,000 people live there. We found torture chamber with 27 bodies, and 2 of these persons were there. So for your understanding, how much we know about war crimes at the occupied zone. So it's a so-called gray zone, and Russia do that from beginning of 1991. Because Abkhazia, Ossetia, Transnistria, Nagorno Karabakh, some enclaves between Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, between Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, all of this place where you don't have any rules and any understanding how you manage your own life, that's which call personally independence or personally autonomy. So you live your life only by the rules which you take a part to create. So it's part of democracy, it's part of election and something like this. So Russia just disconnect person with his opportunity and ability to be a part of making rules for his life. And that's happened everywhere. And each of these zones, directly opposite of territory NATO base. So that's their strategy, that if you bring us some security in way of the NATO, so we create some zone of totally chaos, and we will manage it. They can manage it, exactly. People dying there, people that create trafficking, drug trafficking or person trafficking, so human trafficking. So that's what happened with this zone. And that's horrible, because it's opposite what exactly we are trying to, growing up in the history, we're trying to build the place where you can be, you can realize your full rights, your full potential, your full talents. That's for what we create states. State need to protect you, give you opportunities, and all of this. But Russia, exactly, not only Russia, sure, that was not first. They mostly use the bad practice, but they have a lot of resource to do that.
Tell me about this war against civilians, because we live through this every day, and my impression is that it's not accidental that they target civilians. It's their choice, it's their strategy to frighten people, to make them, leave their homes. It's a kind of also deportation techniques, right? So we see it through drones, we see it through missiles. If we go to the frontline cities, we see it very, very we see it very, very clearly, because this is kind of a human safari. We have this podcast about Kherson and human safari there. Tell me how you see it. This deliberate attacking civilians and crowds of people in residential areas.
I think when Putin understood that traditional Russian scenario not work here, I think that they started exactly. I know that some of Russian philosopher and human rights defenders, they think that most afraid of Putin that exactly democracy, because he don't have any place there. Because in democracy world, when people realize their power, they have their voice, Putin is just a small, non-interest, non-attractive guy who exactly don't have any place and sure don't have any power. So that's why from 2004, when our second revolution, Orange Revolution happened, he started feel of big afraid that Ukrainians who have same common trauma, like I told, like Soviet Union, but can build something, take responsibility, and maybe build some kind of democracy. So that's why I think from this time he hate all of us. I mean, speak we in Russian, speak we in Ukrainian, speak we in, I don't know, Moldavian or Hungarian, who we have Crimea Tatars language or Greek language, all of this language we have in the territory of Ukraine. It don't have any matters, because he had us. He had us like a people, and his system, because that's absolutely we need to recognize. It's not one person. That's a system. That's a people who 12 years at their official position with their resource, with their power, they use it just fight against the Ukraine, fight against the even Belarusian civilian population. Why so? Because I think he understood that it's impossible to find a place for one making decision, like person who do that. It's not work like this in Ukraine. Everywhere. Just imagine that, like our president not in the Ukraine. That means that we find other way how to defend ourselves, how to organize ourselves in this way. So, and that's Putin, I think, afraid. I'm not sure that it's he realized it or not, But he hates us civilians because we are not afraid. We are trying to fight. We're still here. We are not escape. And he don't like it because it's not what he expect. So I think, yes, his decision to don't give us normally sleep, his decision, for example, kidnap, de facto children's kidnap our civilians, torture people because they are, again, pressure not Russian Orthodox Church, because we have institution of religion freedom, and they have their own mission, and one of the mission can calculate that it's 18 different different religion leaders from different community, different religion. We exactly have 72 different churches in the territory of Ukraine. Not always churches, but I mean different kind of religions. And that's 18 people was killed because they are not Orthodox church or because they are trying to help people. And until now, we have religion leaders at the captivity. Just remembered our Igor Kozlovsky, just scientist, person who absolutely expelled the love in any situation. 2.5 years at the Donbass basement. Because of what? Because he told about that love more important than Russia. Nice. So I think, first, they hate us. Second, they hope that it will be strategy. And their main strategy that we will go in against our government. It's not mean that our government perfect. Today it's complicated question. But that's not why we want to change something. Because Putin exactly take their goals. No, because exactly we want to have rule of law, human rights, democracy, and not be a small Russia in any way. Not because Putin occupied us, not because he pushed us exactly started be a small Russia, insidely. So I think, yes, that's why it's so easy for him to make such a decision, shelling the civilians or objects or infrastructure which we need for surviving or something like this. So.
Maybe my last question. So you work a lot on this idea of justice, right? On the tribunal for Putin. And there are many people who say that justice is the first victim of peace. That in order to have peace with Russia, you need to compromise, and that Russia will never be occupied, and the justice will never be imposed. What's your response to that?
My response for that, so when we speak about justice, we need to remember, first, justice, it's two sides medals. From one side, prosecuting of perpetrators. From other sides, it's a rights of victims. Or witness, or society, because whole our society are victims of any war crimes or any international crimes committed on the territory of Ukraine. So even I was not shelled, my family was not killed. Any person who was killed at the territory of Kherson, Ilyivaisk, everywhere, that's trauma for me. That's loss of my, a part of society. So that's two parts, which exactly we need to make in justice. And Ukraine, because Ukraine have a heritage at the justice system of the Soviet Union. So we still concentrate a lot for perpetrator prosecution. And here we work for that. We collect the data. Now Ukraine is most documented war conflict in any history of human being. Because previous was Holocaust, it's a lot of documenting from Third Reich, from their sides, and a lot of ego witness from sides of population. But now it's every day. We have 89,000 of episodes only in our human rights defender database, which called Tribunal for Putin. We have such initiative, and exactly we collect it. 20,000 war crimes we have from the period 2014-2022. And all of this, as we know, General Prosecutor Office had more than 160,000. And that's, we don't have most of 2.5 years, we don't have access for whole the territory of occupation. What we will find there, we don't know. Russian trying to destroy Mariupol told them reconstruct, but de facto they destroyed the track of war crimes. So from one side, we need collect it. And if we even not the catch perpetrators, or maybe they are dying at the battlefield, but we need to collect this data and recognize that's a crimes. That's not normal. You can act like this. If you started to act like this, we need to prevent it. We need to stop you. We know what happened next if we will not do that. So, and that's we can do in absentia. You heard maybe these words. That means that you can investigate, you can even have the court hearing without arrested perpetrator. Because that's important rules. So we look at something, what happened, and say, that's a crime. So we will do that. And really important to write at any historical manual and hold the world understanding who is bad guy in this situation. Because if we will not do that, it's happened like with Stalin. When people will dreaming about Stalin like a great manager. Guys, most of you will be killed if Stalin come. So, and third part, this historical justice for concrete region. So, and third part, it's personal stories. So even we hear that person start to be victim or witness. Now, when we speak about children, for example, we have 6 million children, and third of them need to support from psychologist, and third of them need to support of psychiatric system, because they traumatized, even they don't see something, but a lot of them see these crimes. So that's, we can concentrate we can brings back the rights for victim, witness, and society. So when we speak about justice can be perfect, but that's not mean that you not to do that now. And that's a lot of systems say, but you need to wait when conflict finished. If we will wait, conflict finished, never. We need to do that now, because war, trying to destroy their own track of their own crimes, it's always like this. We see that in 2014, when we're waiting, when, fighting stops, and we will collect the testimonies and see the crime scene, but we figure out that you don't have anything, and you can't investigate what exactly, what kind side can kill these people, because that was a lot of crimes in same place. So that's why we understood that a lot and really deep, and whole our friends, whole our human rights defender from different part of world, Colombia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, African countries, they told about never wait, do that now, all what you can. Ascent, field mission, anything, collect this, because other way you can't build whole the logic. You can't define the people who make this, war crime decision every moment. That's why, because war it's huge, it's a big catastrophe. It's a lot of crimes in one moment. But if you want to cover, and if you want recognized what exactly happened here like a crime, you need to collect now. You need to speak about that now. You need to think about whom and in which system will be judged. You need to think about how to protect and support victims. Because anyway, I don't know what kind of peace agreement we will have. We will have in any way, but new generation who will live with all of this mess, you need support now. You need to give children's physical and psychological rehabilitation. You need to think about your law, even Ukrainian law, not prepared to cover it, all of these crimes. We need to find who will investigate this. For now, at Ukraine, each investigator, national investigator, had more than 2,000 cases. It's frustrating. And most of these cases, he don't have access to this crime scene. So what happened with this? They will not work, and they will be demotivate absolutely. So that's why we need to find this solution. One of the way it's universal jurisdiction. It's such mechanic when different national courts from different country with a strong justice system, like for example in Finland, they have a decision about war crime committed in 2017 at the Donbass, because and this decision will be example for our courts, or MH17. Their decision. Or, for example, we have a case at Argentina, at Sweden, at the German courts, and Poland, Lithuania, Latvian. So this universal jurisdiction exists, so because it's international crimes. Any justice system interests to have a decision in these international crimes. That's one of the way how we can do that. Special tribunal, that's other way. International damage register, which now started to work special commission around of this. That's why all of these instruments, all of these tools, that's happened only now. That's not exist before. And anyone when OSCE told about we can work because Russia not recognize us, Russia froze us, Russia not give us make a decision. But guys, we need it. So we create new one. If this not work.
Thank you, Sasha Romantsova, for this conversation. Thank you very much. This was Explain Ukraine, a podcast by UkraineWorld, an English language media outlet about Ukraine, run by Internews Ukraine. My name is Volodymyr Yermolenko. I'm the editor-in-chief of UkraineWorld. My guest today was Oleksandra Romantsova from Center for Civil Liberties, a Ukrainian NGO that was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2022. Let me remind you that you can support our work on Patreon. Your contributions are essential as we rely heavily on crowdfunding. You can also help fund our regular volunteer trips to frontline areas in Ukraine, where we support both civilians and soldiers. Donations are welcome via PayPal. You'll find all the links in the episode description. Thank you for listening, stay with us, and stand with Ukraine.